right, clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. Clap your hands twice if you can hear my voice. Right, what an involved warm-up. How did we do on this one? Yay, nay, okay. Okay, a little bit of all over. Let's go through it. So first thing we got to do is make a copy of our Russian roulette game. So I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to move this copy into our Unit 2 area. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, this is totally not what I intended. Okay, Russian roulette copy. We'll move it a little bit lower now into Unit 2. Okay, and then let's go open that up. This is not it. This is what I'm going to be following along with, because I already wrote this in preparation. Okay, so let's go ahead and CD into Unit 2. Let's make this bigger. CD into Russian roulette copy, and let's open that up in our code, which it opens up here. Great. Okay, and we'll open up our terminal, and let's just chip at the instructions of the morning one thing at a time. So make a copy, did that, and then it says using npm, install Webpack and the CLI. I can see right now that I don't have a package JSON either in mind, so I'm going to create my package JSON where it says, hey, no package JSON, npm init. So let's just go ahead and npm init. This stands for initialization of that. It might complain. No, it didn't complain, so I'm just going to enter everything, and then I have my package JSON. From here, I am able to add on pieces of information. I'm sorry, I got distracted by some other crap on the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and npm install. So let's do npm install Webpack, and I'm also going to, at the same time, install Webpack-CLI. Enter. Any questions so far on any of this? I think most of us got to like the point where we had Webpack running, which was pretty cool. But for now, I'll just wait this out. Oh God, it's slow. All right, okay, we got it. Perfect. So now let's also go ahead and create our webpack.config.js file. So I'm just going to do touch webpack.config.js. And there she is. And so we are going to copy and paste the configuration that was previously specified. So in here, I'm just going to paste it in. And what this says is that we're going to need an entry file called index.js, and it's going to create, after it bundles all of the files that our index.js connects to, it's going to bundle them all into one big file and create a new file called bundle.js. That's where our output's coming from. And then it says we also need to add a script in our package JSON so that we will be able to run our Webpack. So right inside of this scripts key, and it points to an object which has test in there. I'm going to add another element, so comma, build, and I'll have that point to webpack -- watch, right? So this is what you'll probably also do if you haven't started working in your Hangman game. Hopefully you have, but if you haven't, all right, this is This is the last tutorial of how we would do this. Okay, and then let's go ahead and make our index.html file. So I'm going to say touch index.html and as well as our index.js file. I'm just going to make them at the same time. It says that our index.html file should link bundle. So I'm going to go ahead and make HTML. Let's call this Russian. Oh gosh, I don't know how to spell anything. Maybe that's how you spell it. I don't know. Yes? Okay. Let's go ahead and make a script tag. And our script tag will point to our bundle file, which we don't have yet, but we will once we run our Webpack. And it says, it gave us a couple more directions for things to put into our body. It said to give it a div, where we would have an ID pointing to player. And another div for R&R, standing for Russian Roulette. And lastly, it says to create a UL. And this is going to be ID last words. So this is where we'll keep updating like what happens in the game. So we'll say who dies, what their last word was, etc. Okay. We've got our index.js file. It says wait for the content to load. So what does that sound like we'll need? An event listener. Yeah, that's right. So we'll say document. That add event listener, and we'll say DOM content loaded. And as a second argument, it will take a callback function. We don't care what the event is, so I'm not going to pass it in as an argument. And then we've got that. And then it says to remove the readline sync call in our human player. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, because this is going to give us an issue. And we'll go to our game file just real quickly, because this is where I was running the game before. And so I'm just going to take all this stuff out of here and put that in our index.js file. Except for I don't want to play the game because I'm going to pass it into a view class. I also need to import some things if I'm going to do it this way. Oops. Whoops. Okay, so let's go ahead and import game from /game. Remember, this is like the ES6 way of writing it. And we're also going to import human player and computer player. Great. I'm also just going to real quick make sure I exported game, because I don't think I did. No. So how do I export game? I could do module.exports, but if I want to stick with like the ES60 style for front end, export default, nice. Right, if I import it one way, I have to export it the other way. So I have to stay consistent. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and run our script. So we're going to write npm run -script build to make sure our Webpack actually works. And it does, no errors. Totally cool. It's always a relief. No matter how much you practice, whenever you write code and it doesn't immediately throw an error, you'll be surprised and excited. I don't think that changes in time. Okay, let's also add a view class. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new file up here. And we can call this view.js. And it says the view class should take in a game and an element. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll say class view. What goes in here? Constructor, yeah. And arguments. An L, excellent. And in here? Nice. Sick. Okay, and let's also export this. Export default view. And we should go import this as well in our index.js. So let's go ahead and import. Say view dot. Oops. And let's pass this. Well, let's go grab our element, and we've got our game. So let's go grab the element. How do I grab the element I want? Query selector, I heard. Nice. So document. Got query selector. Nice. Hashtag double R. RR. Captain. Okay. And we'll create our new view. And we'll pass in our game and our element. All right. I think that is most of the directions that we have. Let's go check out to make sure we can actually play this game or see that anything's on the screen. So we're going to copy our path. And we should open up a new Chrome tab. Which we can paste in that path. Looks all right. Let's open up our tools. Command Option I. Console's clear. That's good. Let's check the elements to make sure. Yeah, we got our RR, our last words. Groovy. We should make sure that they're hooked up still, right? So I'm just going to console log hello inside of here still, just to make sure that, oops. Just to make sure that everything's actually hooked up with my script tag. Refresh, check the console, and we got our hello. So everything is correctly hooked up. Awesome. So we're right on track to getting this game to work. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, cool. So it says to also go back into our game class and add a lock and load function that adds a bullet and spins the barrel. So let's go do that. But before we do that, let's remind ourselves what the revolver class can do. Takes in a chamber count, fills it with null. We have an add bullet. We have a spin barrel. We have a pull trigger that returns, I guess, either null or true, because our bullet is a true. And that's it. So that's all that our, oh man, I have a lot of dead code. Since code exists in the first example for you, I'm going to get rid of it here. Okay, so if we know that that's what our revolver class has, we can make what's in our game class. Let's go ahead and add our function, call it locked, lock and load. So we'll say lock and load. And so what do we need to do for our lock and load? Marvin. That add bullet, yeah. Cool. Right, so all this function does is add a bullet, and then it spins the barrel. So we're locked and loaded. Lock and load. Very violent game. I do not recommend trying this game at home. Coding it, yeah. Definitely don't play. Okay, any questions thus far? If you made it this far, we've completed the warm-up. Okay, so we've just kind of laid a lot of the groundwork so that we can actually start to build out this view class. Right? You can see like it took us about 10, 15 minutes to do that. So it's a lot of like prep work, right? Because that was like a pretty continuous thing. We didn't take, like we probably could have done it in 10, but it takes a little while. It's slightly annoying. Yeah, Rafid. Vue.js, absolutely. That's where we're headed. Okay. And if you look to the right, you'll be at our Vue.js. Okay. So let's talk about like the first challenges of our game. So the first thing we should do is probably call our lock and load just right off the bat. That way we've already got a gun with a barrel inside, right? We've already added a bullet. We've already spun it. We're ready to play the game. So let's go ahead and call that inside of our constructor. That's just going to be the first thing we'll say. So we'll say this dot game dot lock and load. Okay. I think eventually we're going to have to call like a this.play to get the game running. There might be a little bit of logic in there. Before we actually call this.play, let's go ahead and create a display board. So we're going to say display board. And over the next little bit of time, I want you to make this board. I want there to be, so I want you to clear our div. I want you to create an H1. Inner text should be the current player's name and asking for last words. Okay. I want you to create an input, create a button, and append all these to our main L. Okay? This is going to be our first step, so go ahead and plug away at this. I'll comment it out so it doesn't just like look as weird. What's up? We're using a revolver. There's no weak side of a revolver. You don't want to copy it. That's all. That doesn't change. It's locked down both of them. We don't have a bullet. We don't have all we have is this revolver. And that revolver has
That's why it's ever.
Oh, I don't know what
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, the effort. Yeah, I was working on that one.
Calm down. Well, what if you type in lens?
NPM, script, write script. I think when I was because I had to change the name.
You can get a little bit more articles.
Okay.
You'll come across less. So also the Garcia website.
It's NPM with that. What is it?
The inner text on page 1.
And just say, oh, currently in
Right, this is one bit, right? You're feeling pretty good about this stuff? I'm just going on with the ones that I already built. Is that way? I won't do lots of these. See how mine is green and it's like still open. It's not ready for any commands. Yours has to be open. And then you should have because once we close it, it won't update the model, so then we'll run on mine. So I bet if you run it, I bet that's Greg's keeping that bundle up to date. Right, so after we've run that npm run script build, we got that website started, right, we want to keep that alive. Because it's going to keep track of every time we make a change, it's going to update the bundle so that changes are reflected. If you kill it and make changes, it'll always stay up to date. Oh, I kind of feel like staying up really late. Yeah, I might. Maybe I'll get tired later. Go ahead. Alright, so listen to that.
Oh, yes, right. You're putting it together. Yeah, I guess this is the child. Correct. This is the child. Input is a child. But that's still going to be an average.
Yeah, it will end in the order that you call it. You can always call it proof later too.
Yeah, okay.
How much is worth of us?
So, for you to be able to see it, you gotta, so you would say, for this one, you should do it the way you do everything else, and say like, let you. Like right here, see how you just, in your index of James, you gotta assign it. So you gotta assign it to a variable. So that I'll be linking back
My downloads. All this stuff. Yeah.
Oh, is that something where we're I went to the bathroom, so I was dating myself. Because I don't have it.
Okay. Thank you.
That is where I experienced the literal kiss of God.
Brett, something like this.
So if you did it or no, just personalized. So you have to also, I ended up having a console to see the option and realize
Brett, you good on this? Oh, the instructions? Okay, I'll go back to the view. Wait, what? What? Wait, what?
We're doing this in the view.js, right?
I was at the gym the other day. And I guess he was, I don't know, he just like jumped down on me like very close. And I went like, whoa. And then he went, oh, yeah, sorry. And I went, well, okay, what is it? And he went, and I went, what? What is your question? I was like in shorts, it was cold. And he was like, and he starts telling me something like, you know, I'm in this situation. I said, hey, it's just about money, I don't have any money. And he goes, oh, it's not about money. And I went, oh, okay, what is it? And he went, what is it? And then I said, I gotta go. And he called me a scaredy cat. But it's like, at least the cat doesn't have my tongue. Like, let's go, man. I was so infuriated. Yeah, I don't think he's ever had anyone like this, like ultimately see. This guy's surprisingly aggressive, though. He needs the question. Get it? I like that. Got the placeholder in there. That's like really smart.
So, I've been watching and reading this anime called Fire Force, and it's like basically spontaneous combustion is a thing, and they become fire demon things, so they live in the rest, and they kill them. They say prayers, and they end up very yeah, that's cool. I'm still reading the manga. I gotta read it at home because it's like a little bit. I should say something because I can't read it at home. I think it's for a woman raised New Yorker, I hate this. This is like only like my day, like a weekend, like a day off. A day off to me, even if it would be fun, it's not walking around in the city.
He's crazy. He like flew from Harvard. He likes this one band that played there. I don't know. He's in love with it.
Dedicated to you know, also comedy show on Friday.
Who is it?
Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
He was on Backhoe a bunch of years ago. Well, he's like super edgy. He has like a portal of useless Schultz. And it's like, it's just flagrant. He has a podcast called Flagrant. It's just like super flagrant.
Heard that this
Like things that most people would find funny. He makes fun. He's like, I don't know if you ever heard of him. I know you're making that face. I was kind of find out if things that you're like, oh no, and be like, you look at it. So he had one where a lady had a stroke at the show, and he just starts making a joke about it. And she like, you know, she had a seizure, she like passed out, and she was having a seizure. And he's making a like joking on the EMTs. And one lady gets upset and is like, you know, that's not funny. And he's like, well, what do you do for a living? She's like, I'm an EMT. He's like, no, how did you do anything? He's like, oh, make it about you.
Oh my god.
And it's just, it's like one where he did like improv and tells us like She's like, my name's not Rebecca. He's like, I just like invited him to be Rebecca. That's Jamal. That's Jesus. And that's John Gacy.
Sounds fun. It sounds pretty wild.
Everyone together.
Because it's just like everything's wild.
It says whatever. It's like a black not joke.
Yeah, making fun of everyone.
Yeah, it's just like everybody loves it. And it's like
Everyone else is down.
are the people that aren't in on the jokes. We made a joke about somebody in a wheelchair. And it's like, oh, you look like you got these sauces. And I was like, yeah, so what's your name? And it's just like, oh.
That is a good comeback. That guy should be doing sit down comedy. All right. All right, let's keep moving along. Clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. How do we do on this part? Yeah, oh, pretty good. Okay. A lot of no thumbs, but that means you're just not participating. All right, so let's clear our data from our RR. So I could go ahead and grab RR. But I already kind of have RR, right? We passed it in as our element into the game. Correct? So how can I clear all that HTML? Marvin? Set it to empty string. Is that what you were going to say, Karen? Nice. So I'll say this .l dot inner HTML. Well, I should capitalize that. And assign that to be an empty string. Okay. Step 1, complete. Create an H1. Who's going to help me create an H1? Yeah, I haven't heard from you today, Ellen. Ishia.
Let H1
Okay. Let H1
equals document not create element.
Yep.
Parentheses, quotation big one.
Awesome. Looks good. So let's set the inner text to be the current player's name and asking for their last words. Who's going to help me with this one? Come on, let's do it. H1.innerText
equal to this current player.
So I don't have a current player on the view class, but I do have a current player on the game, and I have an instance of the game. So in order to get the current player, I have to go game.currentPlayer. Okay, keep going, Kong.
Plus, I think I put an empty string between plus. Then I added this human player, the last word.
Okay, so I'll say, what are your last words? So there might be an error in there, but we'll check that out later. I think we're pretty close, though. Nice one. Inner text. Oh, whoops. Don't you love Command Z? Command Shift Z? To go back, right? Or Command Y also brings it back. Create a Command Z is undo, right? Yeah. Command Z. To redo. Okay, my mistake. Yeah, Command Z, right? If you've made a mistake and you don't know how to get it back, Command Z. Hopefully we know how to do that. Okay, create an input. How am I going to do that? Siham, you want to help me with this? Okay. Yep. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. They changed the spelling, huh? Intergalactic. Okay, there we go. Why did you say extra T?
Alright,
Okay. Good. It isn't, yeah, very fair. I think I left the T because. Anyway. Okay. Creating a button. Let's all create a button together. Okay? Let button equal. Okay, excellent. I love that. We should start a band. Okay, create button. Should our document is spelled wrong? Thank you. Appreciate that. Document. Put the mint in document. Button should probably have some text, yeah? Maybe, I don't know. What do we want button's text to be? Submit or something? It can be anything, right? Hey now, is that what you said?
Oh, amen.
Hangman?
Amen.
Amen. Sure. Make it religious. I don't know if amen is religious. I don't want to know. Let's keep going. And then we got to append this to our element. So how am I going to do that? So let's go repeat.
This dot L
This dot L,
dot child,
append child,
and then the child is input.
and then the child is, well, let's do it in order. So let's do the H1 first, but I totally am on board. So let's do that for all of them. Input and button. Okay. That looks like it might work. Let's go ahead underneath our lock and load and just call display board just to test. So we probably won't stay here necessarily. We'll probably call play instead. But this will just be a good test to see what we've got available. One of my old students is up there. Okay. It says object, object. What are your last words? All right. What's going on here? All right, fella.
Your current player is an object that contains a name and art.
Status of locality, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who couldn't hear, Fowler says our current player is an instance of either the human player or the computer player class, right? And an instance of a class is an object. And he said that it has properties like name and life status or something. And whatever else, methods are available to it. But it's still just an object. So in order to actually get the name, we have to key into it at name, or I can just write down name. Save that. Let's go back. And it says, Fred, what are your last words? So when Fred goes ahead and writes, help me, and clicks, nothing happens. Uh-oh. But nothing should happen yet because we haven't actually built anything yet, right? Which I think is probably what we need to do next. So let's go ahead and create a function called bind events. And what I want events to do is to put a button, listener on our button. So add listener on button for click, for create public key for click, and then when it happens, let's fire. So when click happens, fire this dot result. Result will be another function that we haven't written yet. And let's see what result will do. So result, I want us to write result as well. And for result, we're going to grab the UL that we created. We're going to create an LI. We will get the value from the input. We will update inner text. update the inner text of li to say whose last words were said. We should pull the trigger, which was a method we had in our revolver. And then we'll append our li to the UL. And then we should also call like our like some kind of fire function or something. But we can write that next. We'll just start with just that. Okay. Yep.
Oh, I think when I did that,
Once you stop running, everything will not be updated. So therefore, anything this gets a spelling. So I was like that one. You're on the right one. Yeah.
This like surprisingly is really important to the closing. So maintaining balance. I read from top to bottom.
thank you. It was
Let's go marry. That's right.
Okay.
You can make whatever you want. Well, yeah, I think, I don't know, I have some issue with that. Why I was doing this at all. It's a mistake.
Maybe call and but under that we had Korean and that's the line. We should have done it at the beginning. So if you did everything and you did it, you should have.
And after we selected, let's say, one source, but then you got add. But you should do it.
So it should format because if you do find the shape of all of this, so as long as you invoke events, it should automatically for the class.
Just this,
Should it say whose last words are said? Are we saying whose last words were said as a sentence or just a name?
I would say like, oh, Fred's last words were.
Yeah, that's
Whenever
said, and then it's.
Mine is probably. You see your name are hard. So.
Okay, you created it for him. Okay. Now you got it.
Wait, we don't have the event listeners? It's like.
So you're adding on the line was the first thing
Oh, now it's here.
you want to make a mistake, we gotta go buy it. Oh, listen, we might have made a mistake yesterday.
I'm gonna create a whole new class. Grab like so. Oh, I have to read it.
That's what.
Did I call this right? I was like, actually. I thought it was this time wrong. Okay.
You don't stop that when you got it right. What does that mean? That's great.
Because I went back to the longer and saw that.
That you have to
Yeah,
order.
yeah.
Yeah, but so right now we're just view class, right? And so if we were to say this on trader,
Yeah, it's just
we would be expecting
that.
we did this on names of full trigger, we would need there to be a method on it called full trigger. Which wouldn't be a bad thing, right? Like we could go there and create a full trigger method return this operable or not.
Okay.
But as it is, this type. Yeah.
I'm not creating my
Send property.
This is just in the text. I don't know. Maybe. Oh yeah, it's right. Alright, yeah. Yeah, down here.
She was like, I was like, good thing I ain't
Yeah, that's me. I'm always giving you a hard time before you that was HX.
Yeah, I know you did. Like, I just straight at least bring that over. But I think she was fine. Every time she tried. Like, so she just,
This is tic-tac-toe. So I'm gonna go. That's all right. That's all right. All right, all right, all right. Clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. Clap your hands twice if you can hear my voice. All right, how did we do on this one? Yes, no? Oh man, this is pretty good overall. Is this so far seeming easier than the tic-tac-toe version? Okay, good. So because it's mostly the same kind of stuff here, right? It's just we've done it once before, and that first day was brutal. Okay, so add a listener on button for click. So if I got to add a listener to the button, what's the first thing I need to do? I got to grab that button. So let's go do it. We'll say let button equal document dot query select. Oh, I get work. And there's only one button, so I'm just going to go ahead and write button. Otherwise, I could have given it some kind of ID. And then, what do we want to do with it next? Add an event listener. Button dot add event listener. We're going to listen for click. Not a very good movie. And it's going to be a callback function that we said is. Sorry, Adam, if you're listening to this. Adam Sandler's a big fan of the YouTube, and we'll say this dot result. Okay, great, and that's all that we had to do for this one, right? Because there's not a lot of events that we really need to listen for this one, right? Tic-tac-toe was a slightly more involved on that. And so inside of our result, let's go ahead and grab the UL. How am I going to do that? What was it? Awesome. And what did we call this? I think we called up the last words, right? And I need to throw in that octothorpe # hashtag. I did what? I threw an extra R? Yeah. Okay. Good? Thank you for the heads up. You guys make debugging so much easier. Although also I'm like looking off to the side. But still, I make mistakes on my own. Let's go ahead and create an LI. Let's do that one together. 1, 2, 3. Let. I love it. Yes. I love the sound of that though. It's like a Gregorian chant. Okay, let's get the value from inside of the input. How am I going to do that? Thank you. Okay, I got to get the input, right? Did I mean to put what K? No. Lick. We'll say let input the document dot query selector, and we said it was just going to be input. Right? And then how do I get it to value? Right? Inputs, they don't have an inner text or inner HTML. They just have a value. Yeah, Kong.
Still have a question. Why don't you let input equal to the document and select that value?
I totally could. Yeah. I wrote mine so that I also can determine whether or not it's a computer player and a current player. This just seemed easier, but yeah, I could do that. Okay, and then we got to update the inner text of the LI. So we're going to say li dot inner text, and we'll just make it value. Oh, we should say whose last words it was, right? So how do I get the last? How do I get the current player? I have down name, right? Excellent. And I'll throw in an S. I'll say last words were, and I'll just add that to the value. Update, okay, and then it said we were gonna, it says we're gonna pull our trigger. So I want to save this as a result as well, so that I know if this person is getting a shot or not shot, right? Which will either be a null or a true. So let's go ahead and save that. So I'll say let result equal, and then how do I pull this trigger? This.game.revolver.pull trigger. Right? So this is a little long keying into this, right? All of these are a little long. There are ways we could shorten that, like we could create a pull trigger method in the game, and all that would do is return this.revolver.pull trigger. So then here we would just say this.game.pull trigger, and then it might be a little bit cleaner, like a slightly nicer API, but whatever, this can work for now. And it said we want to append this UL dot, what's it called? Pen child, nice. Can't remember anything in my old age here. Okay, and that's all we said we were going to do. So let's go ahead and add, fun, we'll just add a bind events underneath here. See if things going. And test that everything is working so far. So we refresh the page. We can write help me, click amen. Oh, reference error. Document is not defined. So I probably spelled document wrong here. Hopefully that will be better. Let's refresh. Okay, no errors yet. Help me. Amen. Fred's last words were help me. Cool. Not bad, right? No, not too bad. So there's a couple things that we would need to do next. So we've pulled this trigger, right? So when we pull the trigger, either we're moving on to the next person, right? Or their person's going to die, right? So let's go ahead and create a function called fire. And we'll do that inside of our result here. Let's go ahead and just call this.fire, and we'll pass in our result so that we have an argument that we can deal with. And then let's go ahead and write our fire. So it's going to be fire result, and let's come up with the logic. So I would say like, hey, if result is truthy, what do we want to do if someone has died? Yeah, we also want to let people know that they died. So let's say update UL first to say that person has died. Oops. So let's do that first, and then we'll do the next thing that Marvin's talking about. So if they die, we should handle death, right? Which essentially is shifting that player off, updating the current player, adding a bullet, and spinning the barrel, which is essentially what we did in our game class, or when we first wrote it and we were writing play. We had this like, hey, if fired, do all this stuff. So let's extrapolate this part that I'm highlighting into its own method called handle death. Okay? So just remember that. So we'll say update person has died. This dot game dot handle death. All right, so that will keep things a little bit cleaner. And then we should keep playing the game, but we haven't written that yet, so I'm going to ignore that for now. Else, what do we want to do if the person didn't die? Yeah, we got to switch players. And then also call play, but which we don't have yet. So we'll do this first, and then we'll come back and we'll add that play. And then once we've had play, the game is like over. We've basically done everything. We're like almost done with the game. So we're gonna make it. This coffee is still hot. Seriously, if you're looking to buy a thermos, I highly recommend the Russian. All right. You haven't talked about the Russian this whole time? Yeah.
It says on my module.
Those are the greatest thing, really. I mean, if it's not gonna work, pray for an error. Fella, you see anything? All right. Let's keep chugging away. Clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. Clap your hands twice if you can hear my voice. Sorry, Riffy. We'll keep working on that one a little bit later. Okay. You got it?
No, no.
Oh, okay. If you get it, please let me know what's wrong with it. Okay. So, what's the first thing we got to do inside of our? How'd this one go, by the way? Yes, no, maybe so. All right. All right, let's bring it back up to the front. Yeah, clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. Cool. Okay. So what's the first thing we need to do? Somebody want to help me? Set my condition. What do I want to look for?
Oh, we want to see if the result.
If result. Nice. Perfect. So if the result is truthy, we need to update our UL to say that that person has died. So if I want to do that, what do I need to do? Got to grab the UL. You let UL equal document dot query select. I don't know what that is. Query selector. We'll say UL. What else do I need to do? Got to create an LI, right? So I'll say let LI is equal to document dot create element. I know. I was just waiting for you to say that. I just saw it, and I'm like, oh, Britt's gonna beat me to it, right? Nice eyes. Okay, Li. I think we're missing. Am I missing a clothing brace? No. Okay. And anything else we want to change or update? The inner text of the Li. Yeah. So we'll say Li dot inner text. I don't know why I changed to that. Inner text, and we can make this. How do I get the current player? Dot name plus has died. Wah wah wah. And then how do I add that li to the ul? Nice. Excellent. And then we said we were going to do some kind of like handle death function. So let's go ahead and add that into our game. So I'm going to take all of this code here and just create my new function. I'll do it under lock and load, the other one we created. And we'll say handle death. And when we handle death, command option. We will be shifting out that player, updating the current player, adding a bullet, and spinning the barrel. So, oh no, this is in the game class.
Oh, we're doing it in the game.
So if we do it in the game class, then I get to do this beautiful little this.game dot handle death. Right? That keeps it really clean looking. Okay, so now we've done all of that. And we'll add our else. Yeah, definitely did. We'll add our else. Good eyes. And so our else is we're going to switch players. How am I going to do that? This.game.switch players. Perfect. Switch players. Okay. So after this has happened, we need the game to continue, right? We're gonna have to like get this game to keep rolling, no matter what happens. So let's go ahead and add a play function. So no matter what happens here, I have to call this stop play at the end, right? Because if somebody dies, if somebody doesn't die, we still want to keep playing. So I'm only going to write it once at the bottom. And let's go ahead and write our play function, which is going to be pretty cool. Let's set it up so it's at the top because it's going to be our play. And so let's talk about play. What do we need to do for play? What should play go ahead and do? What? So we don't want to lock and load every time because every time we call play, we don't want to restart. So we've call lock and load in the beginning, and we're going to keep that. I'm also going to go ahead and remove these and just have it say this stop play. So right now we don't have anything. So what else might we want to do? What might we want to check for? What? Never mind. Okay. What do we care if what do we need to know? Okay, AKA, right, is the game over, right? So did we add a game over in our function before? How are we doing it in our play before? Okay, we said this. So let's go ahead in our game. We're going to add a is game over. So I'm going to let you write that in game at first. Okay. So we'll check like, hey, is the game over? If it is, what do we want to do? Yeah, well, we should say who wins, right? So we can go ahead and get the player, that H1 that we originally... Did we have an H1? I don't know if we have an H1. We do, right? Yeah, right here. So let's update the H1. One to say who won. Whoops, wrong one. Aye. There we go. Okay. And then, so if the game's over, we update who won. We should also do some cleanup. What should we remove from the screen? Remove the form. So remove input and button. I like that. Else, if the game's not over, what do we want to do? Yeah, what are the functions that get things going? Display board. And what else? Find events. Nice. Okay. So go ahead and try to write display function. As soon as we've got this written, I think we'll actually have a game working. So that's going to be kind of cool.
So you know how in all our other games, it's game over. This stuff, that is equals if it's not equal to
It's going. I'm trying to figure out how to remove the input into it.
right, take something. Right, because it would be the current player stuff.
You went to get some food.
That's how like. You see how you paying attention. My friendship is fake. David Franklin went to She's a flush. It's not. Both of them. But I'll take
Yeah. Do I need these two if I have this?
What is this?
Oh, I didn't do it yet.
The game over.
Oh, okay.
Right. Not today.
I'm over. I'm done.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, it's not gonna last.
Maybe the last word is on.
No one's done. How many?
You have like a really peaceful game. I'd be one of those players.
No one does.
Yeah, that's a sweet game, Jeff. That's like one you could play at home. All right, clap your hands once if you can hear my voice. All right, how did we do on this last step? Okay, well, we're almost there. That's not bad. First thing, let's go ahead and add that is game over function into our game. So how can I determine if the game is over? Yeah, if there's only one player left. So I can essentially take my logic from my play, right? And I can go into here, and I'm just going to go ahead and return. But we want to see if it's equal to 1, because if it's not equal to 1, it's a game over. It's not a game over. Okay, so that looks pretty smooth. And let's go back to our view and write kind of the meat and potatoes. So is the game over? So what's that? How do I start? Yep, if. I like that. Thank you, Doug. If what?
If this that game that is game over,
Perfect. So if that game over, what do we want to do? We got to update the H1 to say who won. So if I want to update the H1, what do I need? I got to grab the H1, right? If I want to cook a steak, I got to buy a steak. I love talking about steak. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that. So I'm going to say let H1, and I'm just going to grab document dot. Forget what we called it, but I guess I can just call it H1 because it's the only H1 in the game for now. Okay, so if we did that, what was that doing? Okay, and then let's go ahead and update that inner text. So we'll say H1 dot inner text, and we'll say, what do I need to check? How do I get the winner? This dot game what? Dot current player. Dot name. Right, I could do that. I could have also like made a winner method. Might have been a little cleaner. So this dot game dot winner. And I'll say like, is the sole survivor? And then let's go ahead and remove those inputs and buttons. So if I want to remove them, what do I need to do? I gotta grab them first, right? So I'll say let button equal document dot query selector, and we'll say button. And we'll also go ahead and do that for input. And then what do I need to do? Sorry? I got to remove it. So what method will I use for that? Remove child. And if I'm unsure who my button's parents are, what can I use? Dot parent node? Okay, let's do that. So let's go ahead and say button dot parent node dot remove child, and we'll say button. And then let's go ahead and do the same for input. All right. Else, what do we need to do? Sorry? Yeah, we got to display our board. And what else? This dot find events. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of our dead code because we're not using it. And let's give this sucker a shot, yeah? So it says, Fred, what are your last words? I'll say, help me. Robot, what are your last words? So the way this is currently set up is we don't have a way to use the computer player's response. If you wanted to do that, it would be, I might show you this time, but I'm not going to have it figured out. But for now, we'll just do this. So I'll say like, bloop, and we can hit enter. Becky, what are your last words? Save me. Fred, help, really? Oh, Fred died. I called the fire in this.result, I believe. And then we said, okay, so after robot, we'll say bloop again. Becky, what are your last words? Please save me. Robot says bloop. Becky's running out of time. Help. Bloop. Someone's gonna die here soon. Oh, robot has died, and Becky is the sole survivor. Dark, but she won. Way to go, Beck. I call her Beck. Anyway, so that's the game, right? That is a working game. I didn't show this in tic-tac-toe, but I'm just gonna kind of quickly demonstrate it. So if I really cared about having my computer player work, I could import computer player into my view class here. So I would do that by writing import computer player from /computer player. I didn't do this for tic-tac-toe because I thought we were pretty overwhelmed. Today I feel we're slightly less overwhelmed, although still a little. Okay, so now we have computer player. So instead of having this if or else if, or this else, I'm going to add an else if here. So I'll just say else if some condition. We'll run some code. Let's see. So else if, and we should check to see if the current player is an instance of computer player. So we can say like this dot game dot current player instance of computer player. So if it's an instance of a computer player, we'll just fire this dot result. Okay, which means we'll have to just make a slight adjustment to our result. So inside of our this dot result, Right, this was kind of like a bonus piece of material here. Inside of our result, where we got the value, here, I need to check. Hang on, where is it? Well, okay, so I need to check if this is a game, if this is an instance of computer player again. So I can go ahead and say, hey, for my value, this.game.current_player.instance of computer player, and if it is, I am just going to go ahead and call this.game.currentPlayer.getLastWords. This.game.currentPlayer. Which you may remember that we wrote this one before on our instance. Else, we're just going to go ahead and use input.value. So it's just two minor tweaks, and then that's it. Now we've actually written code to work for a computer player, and I can just quickly prove that. Fred says help. Robot last words were blurb. I wish I was human. And now we're Becky, and it says save me. She clicks. Becky died. Fred says like please help. And then we see robot's last words were blurb. And so we're getting robots move automatically. Okay? That's all that's doing. Just a little bonus. Robot has died. Fred is a sole survivor. Humans for the win every time. That's pretty cool. We will not be playing Ken. Any final questions? All right, cool. I'm going to stop recording.